Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we are diving into a filing from Broadcom where they basically took out a huge loan only to then pay it all back a few days later. What's that all about? In this video, we'll decode Broadcom's recent move. We will explore why they took out a multi-billion-dollar loan and then immediately paid it off. What does this mean for the company's financial health and future strategy? We'll untangle the complexities and give you the key takeaways in plain English. Before we jump in, if you enjoyed getting clear insights from these corporate filings, subscribe to the channel. Also, join our Discord community. You can find the link in the description below for more in-depth discussions. The report is dated July 11th, 2025. This is a Form 8K filing which companies use to report major events that could affect investors. So something important definitely happened on that day. The main event here is the end of a major agreement relating to borrowing money. On July 11th, Broadcom paid off all its debts under an existing credit agreement. This agreement was originally made on August 15th, 2023 and had been changed a few times since. To give you an idea of the scale, this original agreement allowed for a whopping $30.4 billion loan. Before Broadcom paid everything off, they still owed $6 billion under this agreement. If they hadn't paid it off, the loan would have been due in 2028. The interest they paid on this loan would change based on a rate called either the alternate base rate or term SOFR, plus an additional amount determined by Broadcom's credit ratings. It's worth knowing that the banks that loaned Broadcom this money, or their related companies, might have done other business with Broadcom in the past or might do so in the future. This can include things like investment advice, managing their money, and other typical banking services. For these services, the banks would have received normal payments and reimbursements for their costs. Now let's talk about something else that happened around the same time, also related to money. On July 7th, 2025, Broadcom made an agreement with several big financial firms, including JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley. Under this agreement, Broadcom decided to sell $6 billion worth of what are called senior notes. These are basically IOUs that the company sells to investors. They were broken into three parts: one Tandem Tim's $75 billion in notes due in 2030, paying 4.2% interest, and lastly $2.5 billion in notes due in 2032, paying 4.9% interest. And lastly, $2.5 billion in notes due in 2030, paying 4.9% interest. And lastly, $2.5 billion in notes due in 2030, paying 4.6% interest. Another $1.75 billion, $2,000. And lastly, $2.55 billion in notes due in 2032, paying 4.9% interest. And lastly, $2.5 billion in notes due in 25 billion to notes due in $25 billion in notes due in 12.5 billion to thin notes due in 2035, paying 5.2% interest. These notes were officially registered with the government, meaning Broadcom followed all the rules to offer these notes to investors. These notes mature or come due for repayment on July 15th of their respective years. They're unsecured, meaning Broadcom isn't using any specific assets as collateral, and they rank equally with Broadcom's other debts. However, these notes aren't guaranteed by Broadcom's subsidiaries, so they're technically lower in priority than the debts of those subsidiaries. Here's the key. Broadcom used the money they got from selling these notes, along with some cash they already had, to pay off that $6 billion loan we talked about earlier. If you want all the nitty-gritty details, you can check out the documents attached to this report, like the agreement with the financial firms and the specifics of the notes themselves. These documents are incorporated by reference, meaning they're officially part of this report. The filing also includes a list of exhibits such as the underwriting agreement, the indenture, which is the agreement that governs the notes, and the forms of the notes themselves. It also contains legal opinions related to these transactions. So putting it all together, Broadcom essentially swapped a loan for notes. They borrowed money by selling these notes to investors and then used that cash to pay off an existing loan. Why would they do it? Well, companies do this sort of thing all the time. It could be that they got a better interest rate on the notes than they were paying on the loan. Maybe they wanted to extend the time they had to pay the money back, pushing it past 2028. It could just be a way to manage their debt and keep their finances flexible. This is a pretty common financial maneuver for large companies like Broadcom. Now, looking at these moves more broadly, Broadcom seems to be actively managing its debt. This could be seen as a sign of financial health, as it demonstrates that they can access capital markets and are proactive in optimizing their financial structure. However, taking on more debt, even to pay off existing debt, always carries some risk. The market can change and interest rates can fluctuate, which could impact their future financial performance. One thing to note is that Broadcom has a lot of debt. While this refinancing move makes sense, it is always something to be wary about. A company with high debt can face issues faster than a similar one with lower debt, such as reduced ability to reinvest in the business and adapt to changing times. Though Broadcom has so far managed debt quite well, always keep an eye on their debt levels. Also, Broadcom faces risks like any tech company. Demand shifts, competition, and tech changes could also affect them. Alright, that's our breakdown of Broadcom's latest filing. What's your take on these moves and their implications for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of corporate finance. And don't forget to join our Discord community. The link is in the description below. Thanks for watching and see you next time.